Hello friends. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're gonna see about why Hitler hated the Jews. It is something that is regularly discussed when studying the Holocaust, which resulted in 6 million Jews being killed in an act of genocide. Before going into this video, if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, go subscribe now. And tap the bell icon so you won't miss any of my new videos. I've already uploaded many historical and mythological videos. If you're interested, go check them out. Also share my videos to your friends and family who are interested in topics related to history or mythology. Anti-Semitism played a major role in Adolf Hitler's thinking and in the Nazi ideology. Anti-Semitism is an age-old phenomenon. Hitler did not invent the hatred of Jews. Jews in Europe had been victims of discrimination and persecution since the Middle Ages, often for religious reasons. Christians saw the Jewish faith as an aberration that had to be quashed. Jews were sometimes forced to convert or they were not allowed to practice certain professions. In the 19th century, religion played a less important role. It was replaced by theories about the differences between races and peoples. Even Jews who had converted to Christianity were still different because of their bloodline. The origin of Hitler's hatred of Jews is not clear. In Mein Kampf, he described his development into an anti-Semite as the result of a long, personal struggle. Supposedly, his aversion to everything Jewish came to fruition when he was living and working as a painter in Vienna. He would have used it to assure people who were not yet convinced of his ideas that they would eventually see the light. There are countless imaginative explanations for the reasons for Hitler's anti-Semitism. Hitler is said to have been ashamed of his partly Jewish roots. Another explanation links his hatred of Jews to trauma caused by a poison gas attack in the First World War. Yet other theories suggest that Hitler had contracted a venereal disease from a Jewish prostitute. There are, however, no facts to support these explanations. In addition to Jews, other groups that were targeted and victims of genocide included gypsies, homosexuals, the disabled, addicts, political opposition, communists and any other detractors to the Nazi Party. Hitler had very strong beliefs about pure-blooded Germans being the master race, known as the Aryan race, and considered Jews as the lowest form of human in his hierarchy of race, and classified them as non-Germans. Despite his beliefs, Jews had a history of living in Germany since 500 AD and even today, most Ashkenazic Jews have German surnames. The heightened tensions following Germany's defeat in combination with the deep history of cultural stigma surrounding the Jewish faith created the perfect setting for Hitler to fully develop upon his anti-Semitic ideas, subsequently blaming Jewish people for all failings in both Germany and the world. This prejudice within society at the time also created an opportunity for Hitler to infiltrate his anti-Semitic views into his politics successfully, and therefore igniting the wildfire of abuse and murder that later ensued during his rule in Germany. Another contributor which added to Hitler's anti-Semitic concepts was the public figures he admired. The leader of the Nazi Party learned how to be successful in incorporating anti-Semitism into social reforms through Karl Lueger, a politician who was the mayor of Vienna around the time that Hitler had lived there. In addition to Karl Lueger, Georg Ritter von Schonerer was another influential figure in Hitler's life, and furthermore the development of his theories surrounding the Jews. Schonerer believed that the Jews were not, and could not ever be, legitimate citizens of Germany and instead, must be removed like a disease, to purify the German people. For many Germans, the defeat that came with the end of World War I was a difficult loss to accept, Hitler being no exception to this. Not only had Germany gone from being a European superpower, but they were forced to pay £6.6 billion in reparations to the rest of Europe, something that humiliated them. After the end of the war, the government of Germany signed a peace treaty that created backlash among the citizens. This backlash was used to develop the legend that was later to be known as the stab in the back legend. This legend blamed the German defeat not on the performance in the battlefield, but rather through a betrayal back at home. One of the main groups of people who was blamed for this betrayal was the Jews. Defying this logic, around 100,000 Jews had served in World War I and many of them had received badges of honor for their service. Hitler participated in the First World War where he got injured by a poisonous gas attack during his service, which has been rumored to be a trauma that triggered his hatred towards the Jews, however there is no solid evidence of this being the case. The German defeat was hard to swallow for many Germans, and for Hitler, too. Against the backdrop of revolution and violence, Hitler's anti-Semitism was becoming increasingly radical. As early as August 1920, Hitler compared the Jews to germs. He stated that diseases cannot be controlled unless you destroy their causes. The influence of the Jews would never disappear without removing its cause, the Jew, from our midst, he said. These radical ideas paved the way for the mass murder of the Jews in the 1940s. According to Hitler, the Jews were after world dominance. And they would not hesitate to use all possible means, including capitalism. In this way, Hitler took advantage of the existing prejudice that linked the Jews to monetary power and financial gain. Hitler viewed the world as an arena for the permanent struggle between peoples. He divided the world population into high and low races. The Germans belonged to the high peoples and the Jews to the low ones. He also had specific notions about other peoples. The Slavic people, for instance, were cast as inferior, predestined to be dominated. Hitler felt that the German people could only be strong if they were pure. As a consequence, people with hereditary diseases were considered harmful. Once the Nazis had come to power, these ideas led to the forced sterilization and killing of human beings. During the 1930s, he did everything he could to expel the Jews from German society. Once the war had started, the Nazis resorted to mass murder. Nearly 6 million Jews were murdered during the Holocaust. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something useful. Like this video, share, comment and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you all in my next video. Thanks for watching.